Now then, most people like to go clothes shopping. I'm in the minority, along with a few of my colleagues, in that a trip to the clothes shop, fills me with dread. It's interesting to note, however, that the price of clothes has not risen for pretty much as long as I can remember. Statistics actually show that the price of clothes has gone down by a few percent over the last 10, 15, 20 years. How can this be? Well, the answer is really quite simple. The places where the clothes we wear are made have changed. Take my own town as an example, Hinckley. It used to be quite famous for its sock manufacturing. Now there are no sock factories. It became too expensive because of the cost of employing people. The people making the socks now are in developing countries like Bangladesh, where the pay is probably 10 times less than in the UK. Those of you who know the shop Primark will have noticed, firstly, the incredibly cheap price of the clothes. You can buy something, wear it once, and not be bothered if that is the only time you wear it because it was so cheap. You may also have noticed that the clothes you buy in Primark are always made in developing countries like Bangladesh, India and such like. In 2013, Primark became embroiled in a scandal that shamed the high street fashion shops. One of the factories in Bangladesh where its clothes are made collapsed, and more than 1,000 employees died as a result. I should add at this point that Primark did not and does not own the factory. Primark just buys its clothes from companies in Bangladesh. It tells the companies what it wants, and they supply to Primark specifications. Hence, Primark outsources its production. The vast majority of big clothes retailers do the same because it's much cheaper. Unfortunately, one of the reasons it is much cheaper is because the employees in these factories are paid such low wages and work in conditions that we might find unacceptable, dangerous and dirty. They have no employment rights, so if they complain about the poor conditions, they are fired. And if they leave because the salaries are so low, there are another 10 people who will gladly take their place. Now, Primark, after this accident where 1,000 people or more died, Primark, to its credit, did take some responsibility and paid about $10 million in compensation to the families of those who died or were injured. The accident was caused by a poorly constructed and unsafe building, by the way. Primark still, however, uses the same outsourcing practices. Other famous names which have been the target of criticism for their outsourcing and associated low wages are Nike, Gap and Apple, as examples. In these cases, the clothes of Nike and Gap, or the phones in the case of Apple, are not cheap. They are premium brands with premium prices, but made for rock-bottom prices with a very high profit margin. And all of this leads many people to question whether outsourcing the manufacture of our consumable goods to developing countries is an ethical practice. Is it the right thing to do? Well, there are two very vocal sides to this argument. Organisations like the ILO, the International Labour Organization, and the Clean Clothes Campaign would like to see a change in the industry. They want a minimum wage and a minimum standard of working environment for these factories, or sweatshops as they are often called. This minimum wage and improved working environment would inevitably increase the cost of the clothes that we currently pay such small amounts for. Would the consumers still buy the clothes if the price increased? Probably not. On the other side of the argument, there are those who say that although the sweatshops are not ideal places to work, without the sweatshops, the employees would have no job at all and would therefore be in an even worse position. In Bangladesh, for example, 4 million people work in clothes factories. A low salary is better than no salary, and the vast amount of garments produced does create some economic growth in the country. See an article by Powell in the Forbes magazine for a clear analysis of that argument. To throw into the whole argument is another interesting point. In our consumer society where clothes are now so cheap, there have been huge increases in the amount of clothes thrown away. Would any self-respecting teenager wear a new outfit for a night out, have their photograph taken multiple times, including selfies, and then wear the same outfit again 2 or 3 weeks later? Of course not. They would be ridiculed on social media for wearing the same dress or same shirt. So we see all of these clothes worn once and then thrown away. And by thrown away, I mean thrown away in the rubbish to go to landfill to create pollution. They could be going to charity, to people who need the clothes, perhaps even to the very people who made the clothes in the first place. But the people who bought them are either too lazy or too busy to arrange the recycling. Now, if our bargain basement rock bottom priced clothes were more expensive, that might lead people to buy much fewer clothes or much less clothes and create less waste. On the flip side, though, buying less means less economic growth. Oh, why is life so complex? Well, I hope that has given you a bit of an insight into the issues surrounding sweatshop labour in developing countries. Thank you.